My name is Sara Franti, and today we're talking to Carol Arnold, who's been a long time supporter and Do It for the Love family member. I would say the first time we met was at a fundraiser, maybe 2014.
I thought it was 2014. I look back, it was the 2015. It was that first dinner that was on site at Bottle Rock. It was on one of the stages.
Yeah. That was when our Bottle Rock relationship first started, and you guys were there. Your husband, Gary, I remember, pulled me down next to him and said, "Hey, I want to help you guys." And I remember he gave me his business card.
Well, you can't forget him because he was 6'7", but it's kind of a towering presence. Yeah.
So tell me how you first heard about Do It for the Love.
Actually, at that event, because my husband was involved in Bottle Rock with the partners there, and they had met Michael and you, and had decided that they wanted to sort of be affiliated with a charity. I think a Bay Area charity was important to them in Napa, and they decided they would do this dinner. You showed a video at that very first event. And I think, like everyone there, Gary and I were just really moved.
It was really obvious to me when I met you guys that night, which I remember so clearly, which is why I feel so close to you as just a person in the world, that giving back and philanthropy really brought purpose to, I feel like, your family and your relationship and what you guys choose to do in the world. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, just Gary, through his job, he was kind of behind the entertainment division at Best Buy. Because of that, he was able to get them to support things like Farm Aid, because his family were all farmers. He grew up in the Midwest. And, when he heard you guys, it was everything he cared about. It was supporting a charity, but music was his life. It got him out of a really tough situation in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I think of what would have happened if a kid like Gary had gotten ill. It was Do It for the Love he would have been just the kind of person that could have never accessed the kind of experiences you guys arrange. His life music gave him everything, and he loved music. He started working in a record store as a kid, like a lot of people. He was not a musician like Michael. He used to always say, "Oh, if I could do that." He had no musical talent, but he had a talent for getting other people's music out to the world. And artists loved him because they knew he cared about the music,
Mm-hmm.
about the business. He was in the music business, but he cared about the music, not
Yeah.
and more than that, he cared about the people. You could tell he loved people. And I'm speaking of him in the past tense, obviously, and it's one of those things, when you get involved in a cause, it shouldn't be just because it's touched you. You should do it because you see that it's touched other people. As it turns out, Gary himself became ill, and he has since passed. And music was everything to him as he went through chemo and treatment and all that. And you never know what's going to touch you. Gary and I were blessed. We met everyone you could have wanted to meet. And we would see backstage people getting to meet their favorite musicians for the first time, what it meant to them.
Yeah.
And you explained, and Michael explained in those videos, that oftentimes these critically ill people, it was the first fun thing they'd done in a long time. And we went to Bottle Rock in 2016 after Gary was already diagnosed, and you saw him. He had lost nearly 100 pounds at that point, and he was a big guy, but in the end, he lost 130 pounds. But to be able to hear that music again, and Michael performed, and Lenny Kravitz, who was a great friend of Gary's, and other people performed, and I would say that was one of the last great joyous experiences of Gary's life. And he got to go to a lot of those.
Yeah.
But just seeing what it means to people to have that experience when they've been through so much, even before he got sick, he understood that.
Yeah.
I've always understood what music, when my mom passed, she passed listening to Nat King Cole, her favorite music. When Gary passed, for 48 hours, our son sat in the room with him and just played him endless songs that he loved.
Wow.
He went out with music. It's, I think this may be off topic, but if you see, there was a documentary about people who have severe dementia or Alzheimer's, and if you play them music that they love and know, they sometimes actually wake up.
Mm,
Music is so deep in our being. Our recognition and our love for music is so deep in our souls. It's kind of fascinating.
yeah.
If you give music to people who are otherwise not engaged, it touches something in them.
Yeah. Music also gives people words. Like so oftentimes as a society, culturally we're taught to like repress our feelings and not speak our feelings. But then that's why I think mixtapes were so big, because it was able to basically like tell our best friend how much we love them, or tell that guy or girl we have a crush on them, or what they mean to
I'm
us.
definitely of the era of mixtapes. Yes. tapes. Tapes. I mean, next to your little AM FM radio with a cassette recorder waiting for a song to come on.
Yes.
Because you couldn't
That was me too.
afford to buy the
Yeah.
record. That was me. And that was, I mean, that's
Yeah.
how important music is to people.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what Gary would think about this, but I was the girl who'd go to the library and rent the CDs and then totally burn them.
Hey.
Because we could never afford to go out and buy an album. Yeah.
I mean, music was one of those great things that it wasn't even like going to a museum or something. It was just, it's the magic. It comes from the air. And going to a live concert, and I've talked to musicians about this, it's like nothing else. I mean, sports events, you're invested in one team or another. When you go to a concert, you're all on the same side.
Totally.
We're all there. And if you have, this, but the people that get to go to these special events and sometimes might be able to be on stage. I've been on stage a lot of times. To feel the love come, you can understand why musicians just never walk away.
Yeah.
They're 50 years old and they're still, the love comes off that crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with like Michael, I mean, he gets people. I see adults who you would never think, he gets them jumping, totally. Right? Yeah. He gets them jumping and pumping their fists in the air and screaming, "I'm alive!" It's fantastic. You know, you get people to do things and cut loose in ways they might not. And I just think that for people who've been through all kinds of medical treatments, because I've sat a lot of times in those hospitals and stuff. It's depressing. And to be able to go and experience the live music of a band whose lyrics and songs are the soundtrack of your life, that means so much to you, because music means so much to all of us. We all have those songs. We all have those songs that mean so much to us. It's a beautiful thing to be able to give someone. You might think, oh, you could do something else. And I think it's really important.
Yeah. It's the power of music has oftentimes been underestimated.
Truly. And what is more important than bringing a person who has suffered some joy? It's incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
And to be able to be in a crowd like that and feel that energy and that love, if you've been at home sick or in a hospital sick, or if you have PTSD and you've been through incredible trauma, to feel that humanity and that love is it's like nothing else. It's not like a sporting event or anything. It's like nothing else to be at a live music event.
I love what you said about when you're watching music, it's like you're all on the same team. Because I really feel this, and I've experienced it, which I say is that when that one song comes on, like that artist hit, and everyone's singing the same words, and everyone put their arms, especially at Michael's show, like Michael will say something and everyone does it, but everybody's putting their arms around each other, and there's this common humanity there, and everyone has their own story of what that song means to them. But they're all singing the same words, and there's this connection, like, you like look at each other and you're just like, yes, I understand, and they feel, and it's really so beautiful.
It's like nothing else. It really is. We saw that video and he went, yeah, I'm gonna get behind this.
That's awesome.
He recognized it, having no idea, not that he would have had to access to it for the love, but that he would find himself not that long after it
Yeah.
facing the fatal illness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And music was with him everywhere we went, everywhere.
Was there one song that you guys would play often during that time?
No, he's so funny. He would say, I still listen to the same 10 songs. Yeah, I think a lot of us do have those songs from our, he loved Neil Young. Um, a, a lot of the songs he listened to had to do with relationships that he got to have. I mean, he would tell Neil Young, the first show I ever saw I was in the back row at one of your concerts, the back row at one of your concerts. And it was the greatest thing for me, because Gary couldn't afford any of that stuff,
Yeah.
And then he was really close with the guys in Queen, and he was really close, he got to meet Paul McCartney, and Pete Townsend was a friend, and Sting and Lenny Kravitz, and all these people, these insanely, talented people loved him because he loved their music, and they could sense that he would, so it was dozens of songs just in rotation, but I would have to say, Neil Young, just endlessly. I got in my car the day after he died, and I turned on the car, and from the first note, Neil Young's Only Love Can Break Your Heart came on. And I swear to you, that was Gary sending me a message. And I'm very not woo-woo, but I'm telling you, from the first note.
That's amazing.
I said to the car dashboard, thank you, honey. I'm serious.
That's really amazing.
He grew up in the Midwest, and Heart of Gold and Harvest and all those songs just meant the world to him. He told Pete Townsend, you told me I could get out of that basement in my parents' house. Music tells people that there's a world out there beyond what they see, especially if they're in circumstances that are difficult. Gary was expected to go to work in the same factory where his father worked his whole life, where his brother worked his whole life. He was, and music gave him a life beyond his wildest dreams. And it frees people. So for when someone's struggling and sick, and you can give them that one night of freedom, do that.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful thing to give somebody.
Thank you.